Ladies and gentlemen, today I want to talk to you about something that has the power to completely change your life. Not someday, not in a year, but starting right now. I'm talking about the simple steps that can unlock anything you've ever wanted. And I mean anything. Success, fulfillment, health, love, wealth, peace, power. Whatever it is, it's already within your reach, but only if you understand the process. See, most people don't fail because they're not capable. They fail because they don't know how to align their mind, emotions, and actions with what they really want. But once you learn these steps and truly live them, your life will never be the same again. Let's get started. Step 1. Get absolute clarity on what you want. This sounds so basic, but it's where 90% of people fall short. You cannot hit a target you cannot see. You must define your vision so clearly that you can feel it in your bones. Don't just say, I want more money. Say, I want to earn $100 zero a year doing work I love that makes a difference. Don't just say, I want a relationship. Say, I want a passionate, honest, joyful connection with someone who brings out the best in me. Clarity is power. When your mind knows exactly what you want, it starts to work like a heat-seeking missile. It will filter out the distractions, it will point you in the right direction, but you must be specific and you must be obsessed with the outcome. Not in a desperate way, but in an inspired way. Step 2. Find a powerful reason. Once you know what you want, you've got to find the why behind it. You won't always feel motivated, you won't always feel confident, so you need a reason that lights your soul on fire. Ask yourself, why does this matter? What will my life look like when I have it? What will it cost me if I don't follow through? A strong why can get you through anyhow. It gives you leverage. It wakes you up early. It pushes you through fear. It makes the pain worth it. If your dream doesn't have an emotional charge, you won't fight for it. So find that reason and make it real. Write it down, speak it daily, visualize it. Embody it. Step 3. Raise your standards. People get in life what they believe they must have, not what they should have. If your standard is, I should lose weight, you'll never change. But if your standard becomes, I must be healthy, energetic, and strong, now you have identity, level power. Winners don't get lucky, they get hungry, and hunger only comes when you stop settling for average. Change your musts, and your life changes with it. Decide what's no longer acceptable in your life, and what you now demand of yourself. Don't make it negotiable, make it law. Step 4. Take massive, imperfect action. You can have the perfect plan, the perfect dream board, the perfect journal full of ideas. But if you don't act, nothing happens. Motion doesn't equal progress. Action does. The people who win in life aren't always the smartest. They're the ones who move, who try, who risk, who fail, who try again. You don't need to know every step, just the first one. When a rocket launches into space, do you know how much fuel it uses just to lift off? Almost all of it. Starting is the hardest part, but once you gain momentum, everything changes. Don't wait until you feel ready. Start before you're ready. Courage is a muscle, it only grows when you use it. Step 5. Condition your mind daily. Your mindset is your greatest weapon, or your greatest weakness. What you focus on, you feel. What you feel, you do. What you do, you become. You cannot feed your mind junk every daycom, plaints, gossip, fear, social media, and expect to have the mindset of a champion. You need to condition your thoughts the way an athlete trains their body. That means feeding your brain with empowering beliefs, uplifting content, positive self-talk, and powerful questions. Ask yourself daily, what am I grateful for? What am I proud of? What am I committed to? How can I serve more? Who do I choose to become today? This mental hygiene is not optional. It is essential. Step 6. Get around people who expand you. Environment is stronger than willpower. If you hang around 5 people who play small, complain, make excuses, you will become the 6th. But if you surround yourself with people who think bigger, act faster, love deeper, and chase growth, you will be pulled upward. You need people who remind you of who you are when you forget, who challenge you to rise, who celebrate your wins and hold you to your standards. You cannot do this alone. Greatness is a team sport. Step 7. Celebrate progress, not perfection. Perfection is a lie. Progress is real. Every step forward matters. Every small win counts. Most people quit because they think they're not moving fast enough. But you are not in a race. You are in a transformation, and transformation takes time. Honor the struggle. Respect the grind. Celebrate the fact that you're showing up when others are sleeping. Progress compounds. One small shift done daily becomes unstoppable over time. So, my friend, here's the truth. You don't need to be smarter. You don't need more luck. You don't need to wait for the perfect time. Everything you need is already inside you. You just need to commit. To clarity, to action, to growth, to belief. And if you live these simple steps with hunger, with passion, with relentless consistency, then there is nothing you cannot create in your life. The question is not, can you have it? The question is, will you decide it's yours? Because if you do, life won't just give you what you want. It will give you more than you ever imagined possible. Let's go get it. Clarity is power. If you can't define it, you can't achieve it. The majority of people drift through life hoping things will fall into place, wishing for success, love, health, and happiness, but never taking the time to define exactly what those things look like for them. If you don't know where you're going, any road will take you there, and most roads lead nowhere. Clarity is the ability to paint a vivid picture in your mind of the outcome you desire. It's when you close your eyes and not only see the dream but feel it in your body, taste it in your soul, and know with certainty that it belongs to you. When your vision becomes that clear, you move differently. You speak with intention. You plan with precision. You start attracting the opportunities, people, and tools that align with your goal. Most people settle for vague intentions. They say they want to be successful, but they never define what success looks like in measurable terms. They say they want to be happy, but don't dig deep enough to discover what happiness truly means for them. When your goals are fuzzy, your actions are scattered, you end up being busy instead of productive. But when you get crystal clear, when you can describe your outcome in detail, down to the way it makes you feel, you create a mental blueprint that your brain and body can follow. Your subconscious mind doesn't respond to generalities. It responds to detail, to emotion, to repetition. Clarity trains your brain to filter out distractions and focus on the path forward. Think of it like a GPS. You don't tell your navigation system, "Take me somewhere nice." You enter a specific address. Then and only then does it begin mapping out the route. Life works the same way. Once you set a clear destination, your mind begins identifying the steps. You start noticing solutions, resources, and people who were always there, but you couldn't see them because your lens was cloudy. Clarity cuts through that fog. It activates the part of your brain responsible for pattern recognition. Suddenly, you're not hoping anymore. You're hunting. You're no longer wandering. You're walking with purpose. But clarity doesn't come by accident. It must be created through reflection, questions, journaling, visualization, and honest self-evaluation. You have to dig into what you really want, not what your parents want for you, not what society tells you to want, but what actually lights your soul on fire. You must give yourself permission to be brutally honest. You must get specific. How much income? What kind of relationship? What type of career? What kind of impact? Vague dreams create vague results. But clarity brings focus, and focus is the gateway to power. Once you've found that clarity, you must hold on to it with everything you've got. Distractions will come, doubts will creep in, life will throw noise at you from every direction. But if your vision is clear enough, you won't be shaken. Your clarity becomes your compass, guiding every decision you make, every action you take, every sacrifice you commit to. And the clearer your vision becomes, the stronger your internal drive grows. You begin operating from a place of certainty, and certainty changes your behavior. You no longer ask if, you ask how. You stop questioning your worth and start commanding your reality. Your why must be stronger than your excuses. Every dream, every goal, every transformation starts with a decision, but decisions without deep-rooted reasons rarely survive the pressure of reality. When challenges show up, and they always do, it's your why that pulls you through. It's the emotional fuel that powers you when motivation fades, when you're tired, when the progress seems invisible. The truth is, excuses are easy, they're comfortable, they make sense to the logical mind. But your why doesn't live in logic, it lives in your soul. It's what makes you cry, makes you fight, makes you refuse to quit. When your reason for doing something is stronger than the obstacles in front of you, you will find a way, not an excuse. Most people fail not because they lack ability, but because they lack a compelling reason to keep going when it gets hard. If you only chase something because it sounds good or looks good on paper, you'll abandon it the moment resistance shows up. But if your why is deeply emotional, if it's tied to your identity, your family, your legacy, your purpose, then you'll run through walls to get there, you'll bleed for it, you'll crawl through the mud. You'll do what others won't, because your reason makes the pain worth it. That's the power of a strong why. It silences the voice of doubt. It overpowers the temptations to settle. It drowns out the noise of distractions. Your why must go beyond surface-level desires. Wanting money isn't enough. Wanting recognition isn't enough. You must ask yourself, what will this goal give me emotionally? What will it make me feel? What does achieving this mean to my sense of identity? When you connect your goal to something greater than yourself, something personal and meaningful, you ignite emotional leverage. And emotional leverage is the greatest driver of consistent action. A person with enough reasons can endure any amount of discomfort, sacrifice, or pressure. Sometimes your why will be born from pain. Maybe you've suffered. Maybe you've seen your loved ones struggle. Maybe you've reached a breaking point where you said, never again. That pain, when harnessed correctly, becomes fuel. It becomes a commitment. Other times, your why comes from vision. The vision of the life you know you're meant to live, the freedom you want to create, the contribution you want to make, the version of yourself you want to meet. Whatever it is, make it specific. Make it emotional, make it real, remind yourself of your why daily, speak it out loud, write it down, create visuals that represent it, burn it into your mind and heart, because when you wake up and you don't feel like doing the work, it won't be discipline that saves you, it will be your reason. When fear shows up, your why will help you walk through it. When failure knocks you down, your why will help you get back up with fire in your eyes. People often ask what separates those who succeed from those who don't. It's not talent, it's not luck, it's not timing, it's hunger, and hunger comes from having a reason so compelling that quitting simply isn't an option. Your why must be the anchor and the engine. The anchor that holds you steady in chaos, and the engine that drives you forward through every storm. Raise your standards and your life will rise with them. Everything you accept is a reflection of what you believe you deserve. The moment you decide you're no longer available for average, for excuses, for just getting by, your entire life begins to shift. People often think life is about goals, but goals are just the surface. Standards are the foundation. You can set a goal and still not reach it if your standards don't support it. But when you raise your standards, you no longer tolerate behaviors, environments, or results that don't align with your new identity. You start living from a place of personal expectation, and that expectation becomes your new normal. We all have an internal thermostat that controls what we believe is acceptable in our health, our finances, our relationships, our habits. And no matter how hard you work, if your internal standard is set to a low temperature, you will always return to that level. You may experience temporary success, but without raising the standard, it won't last. That's why some people make money and lose it. Others get fit and gain the weight back. The actions changed temporarily, but the standards never shifted. To create lasting change, your identity must catch up with your goals, and that starts by deciding what is no longer acceptable. Think about the people you admire, the ones who seem to operate at a different level. It's not luck or genetics, it's standards. They've decided they will not live beneath a certain level, no matter what. They show up differently, they think differently, they demand more from themselves, and because of that, life responds in kind. Success is not an accident, it's a reflection of what someone will no longer tolerate. If you're tired of settling, tired of repeating cycles, tired of feeling stuck, it's time to make a new decision about who you are and what you stand for. Raising your standards doesn't mean being perfect. It means refusing to settle for less than what aligns with your vision. It means saying no to old patterns, breaking ties with comfort, and creating a new set of rules for how you live, work, and show up every day. It means upgrading your language, your habits, your circle, your rituals. You cannot change your life until you change what you demand of yourself. The moment you say, "This is the standard now," everything you do either supports that or conflicts with it. And that level of awareness brings power. There's a shift that happens when you make this decision. Suddenly, you stop waiting for the right time. You stop blaming circumstances. You stop hoping someone will come save you. You become the standard, bearer of your own life, and others notice. People treat you the way you teach them to treat you, and when you carry yourself with a higher standard, the world reflects that energy back to you. It's not arrogance, it's alignment. You're no longer trying to fit in, you're trying to rise up. You begin to monitor your input, what you read, watch, consume, who you surround yourself with, because you understand that every bit of influence either reinforces your standard or drags it down. You become more intentional with your time because your standard doesn't allow waste. You get more focused, more resilient, more driven. Not because it's easy, but because it's necessary. High standards don't make life easier, they make you stronger. They shape your discipline, they refine your vision, they separate you from the crowd. When you raise your standards, you may lose people, lose comfort, lose convenience. But what you gain is far greater. You gain alignment with your purpose. You gain peace of mind. You gain progress that actually sticks. Your standards become the invisible force that shapes your destiny. Action beats perfection. Start before you're ready. Too many people wait for the perfect plan, the perfect time, the perfect confidence, and in that waiting, they waste years of potential. They get stuck in analysis, in overthinking, in fear of failure, constantly preparing but never moving. The truth is, clarity comes through action, not thought. Confidence is built through action, not theory. Progress is made through messy steps, not perfect ones. Every person who has achieved anything great began with uncertainty, with doubt, with fear, but they moved anyway. They acted, stumbled, learned, and refined. That's the path, not perfection, but motion. Perfection is a lie that keeps people stuck in paralysis. It whispers that you're not enough yet, not smart enough, not skilled enough, not ready. But readiness is not a feeling, it's a decision. The moment you decide to act, even in small ways, you begin to build momentum. Momentum is what transforms thoughts into results. Without it, dreams remain dreams. With it, dreams become real. The difference between people who succeed and those who don't is rarely talent. It's that one group chose to act before everything felt ideal. They knew the perfect time was an illusion and that progress requires courage, not certainty. Action creates feedback. It shows you what works and what doesn't. It exposes blind spots and reveals strengths. It teaches more in a week than thinking does in a year. You cannot grow in theory. Growth only happens when your feet are in motion, when your hands are dirty, when your heart is on the line. Every expert was once a beginner who dared to take the first step without having all the answers. Every master was once awkward, unsure, and overwhelmed. What separates them is that they didn't let the fear of imperfection hold them hostage. The people who wait for perfection are often afraid of judgment. They fear criticism, failure, rejection. But the truth is, no one gets to escape failure. Not acting doesn't protect you from it. It guarantees it. Playing small doesn't keep you safe. it keeps you stuck. The real risk isn't trying and falling. It's never trying and living with regret. You don't learn confidence from sitting on the sidelines. You earn it by walking into the fire and proving to yourself that you can survive it, grow from it, and come out stronger. Action breeds discipline. Discipline breeds trust in yourself. When you take action, you begin to believe in your own word. You see that you're capable of following through, even when it's hard, and that belief is everything. It becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. The more action you take, the more capable you feel. The more capable you feel, the more bold your actions become. And with bold action comes bold results. The cycle feeds itself, but only after you break the inertia. Start small if you must. One step, one task, one uncomfortable conversation, one risk. The size of the action matters far less than the consistency of it. Tiny steps taken daily will outperform grand ideas that are never executed. The habit of action is more powerful than any plan that exists only in your mind. You can course correct as you go. You can adjust, improve, and refine, but only if you're moving. Only if you've stepped into the arena and dared to try. Waiting keeps you locked in place. Movement unlocks the next level. There will never be a moment when everything feels completely right. You'll never feel totally ready, and that's the point. Readiness comes from movement. The discomfort is part of the journey. The unknown is where breakthroughs happen. The leap is what forces growth. And in that space between fear and action, you'll discover who you really are. Environment shapes destiny. Surround yourself with growth. Who you spend time with is who you become. The people, places, and patterns that fill your daily life either lift you higher or hold you back. Most people underestimate just how much their environment influences their behavior, mindset, ambition, and results. You can have massive potential, but if you're constantly surrounded by negativity, laziness, small thinking, or drama, you'll begin to absorb it like a sponge. Energy is contagious. Beliefs are transferable. If the dominant energy around you is doubt, excuses, or fear, you will slowly begin to accept those limits as your own. The environment you're in sets the standards you will either rise to or fall under. Your environment isn't just physical. It's emotional, mental, digital, and energetic. It includes the conversations you participate in, the content you consume, the routines you allow, the habits you repeat. Every input leaves an imprint. If you surround yourself with people who challenge you, stretch your thinking, and support your growth, you'll find yourself expanding in ways you never imagined. But if your circle is full of complainers, gossipers, and people who don't believe in the future you're building, your vision will shrink to fit the limitations of that atmosphere. You must guard your environment like your life depends on it, because it does. Growth requires friction, challenge, and inspiration. It thrives in environments where excellence is normal, not rare, where pushing limits is expected, not optional, where learning is part of the culture, not something you do once in a while. If you've never experienced an environment like that, it may feel uncomfortable at first, but that discomfort is the very thing that signals growth is happening. You must put yourself in rooms where your excuses don't work, where you're not the smartest, strongest, or most successful person in the room, where being average feels out of place. That's where you level up. Sometimes elevating your environment means letting go of people you've known for years. It doesn't mean you don't love them. It means you love your future more. Loyalty to your past cannot be greater than responsibility to your potential. The people who truly love you will understand, and if they don't, that's okay too. Not everyone can go where you're going. The journey of transformation often requires distance, silence, and new alignments. Don't be afraid to outgrow people who had the chance to grow with you but chose comfort instead. You can't control every part of your environment, but you can influence most of it. You can choose what books you read, what accounts you follow, what videos you watch, what thoughts you allow to repeat. You can shift your space. Declutter it, energize it, make it reflect the version of you you're becoming. You can seek mentors, communities, and accountability partners who live the standard you aspire to. You can design your environment to support discipline rather than distraction, alignment rather than chaos, focus rather than noise. Your future doesn't just depend on what you do, it depends on where and with whom you do it. The soil matters as much as the seed. Even the strongest seed can't grow in toxic soil, but the right environment accelerates everything. It multiplies effort. It feeds belief. It makes the hard work feel normal. Surround yourself with people who speak life into your dreams, who show you what's possible, who remind you of your power when you forget. Let go of the fear of leaving old rooms behind and step into spaces where your vision is celebrated, not tolerated. Where the air is full of ambition, not limitation. Where progress isn't just a goal, it's the culture.